Did you tell everyone that we fucked in the office?
No, not everyone. Reggie from Distro just guessed it. He said it looked like I just fucked. I wasn't gonna lie to him, but I didn't think he'd tell anyone.
Why tell anyone anything? That's private. That's between us.
I'm sorry, Annie.
Now everybody knows, and if Gabe finds out, I could get fired.
Fuck Gabe. Who cares about him? I mean, all those people are just pretentious assholes.
I care. So you should care too. I want to be one of those people.
Can we just talk about this in the car, please?
No. No, I'm gonna stay.
Wait, are you serious? I just spent like 2 hours at this stupid party.
Welcome back to my channel. This is going to be a recap of Shrill Season 2, Episode 7, Salon. Okay, so Annie and Ryan are in the server room having sex. Okay, now keep in mind, this isn't a large office. Most of the people, I mean, you've only seen one level of this office. So, and it's open space. So it's not like there are offices. The only person who has an office is Gabe. So it's all open space. And the server room, if Amadi looks up, he could see the server room. So that's how, again, poor judgment, okay? So they're in there having sex. And the phone rings, and of course they stop briefly to figure out, okay, should we answer? No, probably not. Okay, so they continue on. And so now they're having a conversation of what he needs to do with the condom. She's like, don't throw it in the trash, because Ruthie goes through everybody's trash. And he's like, I can't flush it because of the baby turtle or some craziness she said. She was like, just take it and throw it in the dumpster around back. And so she leaves out first, and she bumps into Ruthie, and Ruthie is like, what, you look different. And so she was like, no, everything is all good, Ma. Everything is all fine. Like, she started to act like, I don't know what. So she's like, yeah, Gabe is looking for you. So she goes into the office, and Gabe is asked her about it, she wanted an update on the Waham article. And she was basically like, it's good, everything is progressing fine. Thank you for your input and your recommendations. And he was like, yeah, I also have another she was like, he was like, I know I have this party every year. He calls his parties getting called a saloon, intellectual saloon or something, I forget. And she was like, yeah, they're legendary. So the person that was supposed to have one of the people he invited couldn't make it. And so he was like, yeah, so I want you to come and bring a date and and she's she's excited, it's a big deal. So she's now, she goes out and she's now talking to Amadi, and Amadi's like, yeah, I've been to 3 of these things. She's like, 3? So what should I expect? And he's basically like, people are just, just standing around there talking. It's like a party, you rub elbows with who's who, in that world, as far as, publication, newspapers, magazines, that kind of thing. And so, it's all, it's all good. So they're back at the house, Emily and Fran. Fran is saying how she wants to throw a party and she wants it to be a big blowout, but they kind of toss around the ideas who they're going to invite, And so this time, Annie and Ryan comes down because she's getting dressed. She's, picking up the last few things so they can leave for this party. And as you can see from the photo behind me, you see the top that Ryan is wearing, and instead of putting on a long pair of khakis or dress pants, he's got on some fucking shorts. Okay, anywho. So, but that's how he's repping, okay, and that's how she doesn't mind that he's repping her like that in front of her boss and all that. So whatever, we just go, Annie gonna do what she gonna do. So they arrive at the party, and Gabe is nervous because he's like, okay, is Sheila here? Have you seen Sheila? Now, all the time I thought that the Weekly Thorn was Gabe's publication, but he has a contract with them, and I think the contract is coming up for renewal. And so Sheila is actually his boss. And so he's nervous. His boss is going to be there, and he's, he doesn't really know what to expect. And so he saw Annie, and he was like, yeah, she was. So they're talking, and then Ryan walks up, and he's like, okay, so who you brought a disco boy for your date? And he was like, no, I'm her boyfriend. And he said, oh, I see. You want we're creating this atmosphere like I know the people that I work with. I'm of the people that he's. Gabe is Gabe. So he was like, okay, so you guys get out there and smooth and, you know, talk and mingle, right? So she sees Amadi. Amadi's talking to a guy named Nick, who's an illustrator, and they start talking about this. There's this photo of this magazine cover that Annie has in her at her desk, and he's the person that created that. And so they have a conversation, they're going back and forth. At this point, Ryan has gone to get a drink for the both of them. Now, Ryan, the whole deal with this evening is that Ryan would go with her to this party, and after this party, they would go to some restaurant for some all-you-can-eat something competition or whatever. Okay, that was the agreement. So he walks up, and he gives her the drink, and he's kind of like standing there out of the loop because they've been having this conversation. He doesn't really know, and they was like, oh, and then eventually, Amaya was like, oh yeah, Nick, this is Ryan. And he said, oh, Nick. He said, what's your name, huh? He was like, this is Ryan. Like, what's your name? He said, Nick. What's your name again? Nick. He said, oh, yeah, I'm Ryan. So it was like a kind of a goofy moment. And they're looking at him like, okay. So then they see Sheila. And so Nick was like, oh, I work with her all the time. You know, if you want me to, I can introduce you. And so she was like, oh, yeah. So she's like, do you mind staying here with Ryan while I go and speak to meet Sheila? And no, it's not a problem, no big deal. So they go over. So around this time, Ruthie pops up, and she wants to show Amadi something. And so they're about to walk off, and Brian is about to follow, but Ruthie turns around and says, no, you can stay here and die. So they walk away. So they walk away, and they go up to, and she takes them upstairs to this room. They have all these damn gas masks and all this on the wall, and there's a photo in her room of Gabe, and what's his name, Tony, Gabe's husband. And he was like, what? He was like, you live here? She was like, yeah. So then we find out that Ruthie actually lives with Gabe. And he was like, you live here? She was like, yeah, he was like, that's kind of odd. Like, why are you, and you know, they have a little, they go back and forth, and of course Ruthie, it don't take her a lot for her to fly off the handle, so she goes off and like, you can fuck yourself, so she walks off. Okay, still odd. And then you got a whole wall full of gas masks. You collect gas masks for some reason. Okay, anywho, so Nick has now introduced Annie to Sheila, and then she references this article that she wrote. Sheila's familiar with the article, and she was like, oh my god, that was great, that was amazing, and yeah, you know, she was like, have you she's talking to her about freelance. She was like, well, no, I haven't. She said, well, anytime, you know, you can always pitch ideas to me, and I can pitch it to my other publications. And she was like, oh yeah, well, you know, I'll check with Gabe, and we'll figure something out. And so she gave her a piece of information, which should be obvious to anybody. But she was like, one thing you need to know about Gabe. Gabe is great at what he does. He's talented. He is all that. But Gabe is narcissistic. You may feel like he's helping you, but he's really helping himself. So you need to do the same. And so she was like, okay. So she's giving her some information there. Ryan, just inappropriate, just walks over to her, grabs her ass. This is why she's talking to her boss's boss, right? And it's a whole awkward situation. So the next thing, Gabe rings the bell, and he says, okay, dinner is served. So they're about to go and get ready for dinner. As they were walking out, Gabe grabs Annie. Was like, did she say anything about me? And Annie was like, no. He was like, oh damn, I guess I'm gonna have to break out the big guns. I'm gonna have to move forward. She was like, wait a minute, move forward with what? So he grabs Calendar Cody, because he'd already had this plan, right? And next thing you know, Calendar Cody comes out with the guitar. He's playing the music, and Gabe comes out and he starts singing. And he sung the place down, apparently. Everybody was like, oh my god, people were all blown away. Like, oh, that was amazing. Did you know I was going to do that? Oh my god, that was so great. So Ruthie, Amadi, Nick, and Annie are all standing around, you know, gushing over that whole performance. Like, oh, did you know he could do that? No, he could build it out. And then Calendar Cody walks in, and he's like, they're kind of smooth over. Oh my gosh, you did a great job. He's like, oh no, you're wonderful. He said, that is great. And he said, you did a great job, or I forget what he said, but he was like, he just an asshole. Why he would say that is anybody's guess, but he goes to Annie. He was like, not as good as you. I mean, that, you know, you're having sex in the office. So it was, she was like, what are you talking about? So everybody's face kind of got tight. They were kind of looking at her, and he was like, yeah, Angus said that, you know, you and Ryan were having sex in the office. And he was like, maybe he saw her face. And she was like, that's not true. You can see her eyes started tearing up. He's like, well, maybe I, misread Angus. Maybe I just got something wrong. So, of course, she runs out. She upset. Ryan has already called for an Uber driver to take them to the restaurant they were supposed to go to after. And she's like, did you tell them? You saw the clip in the beginning. Did you tell them that we had sex in the office? And he's like, no, I did not. Somebody made the comment, and basically they made the comment, and he didn't dispute it because he's an idiot. Okay, so now people know that she's been having, they had sex. That's been, like, I wouldn't say it's a constant thing, but they had sex in the office, and now at least four, five, six other people know about it now at this point. And so he's like, of course she's hurt and disappointed, and she was like, why would you say that? That's a private moment. You shouldn't have told anybody. And so the Uber pulls up, and he was like, okay, so can we talk about this in the car? And she was like, no, I'm staying. He, of course, got upset because he feels like they had an agreement that he would come to this party and then she would go with him later. He was like, are you crazy? I just spent 2 hours at this stupid party, basically to support you with these bougie ass people. He didn't really say that, but that's what he really meant. These stuck up people. And she's like, okay, so what do you want me to say? What do you want me to do about that? And so he left. He kissed her on the cheek, and he left and got in the car and went on to the restaurant. And I mean, that's how this episode ends. Yeah, that's awkward. It was like, oh, the facial expressions that people have was like, okay. But them working together could only end in disaster. So, what do you expect? So I'm going to end this here, and I will talk to you guys later.